When it's night time in Nevada, I'm dreaming of the old days on the prairie and you. The golden sun.
The name Nevada has long evoked romantic images of the Old West. Ironically, it's actually one of the most urban states in the nation, with most of its population concentrated in the Reno and Las Vegas areas. But you don't have to look far to find traditional ways still flourishing on old-time ranches and farms throughout the state. To honor these family-owned properties, the Nevada Historic Preservation Program initiated the Centennial Ranch and Farm Awards in 2004. To qualify, a family must be currently ranching or farming the same property for 100 years or more, with 160 acres or with gross annual sales of at least $1,000. In the first 3 years of the program, an impressive 29 properties were honored by the Historic Preservation Office in a program carried out with the Nevada Department of Agriculture, Nevada Farm Bureau, Natural Resources Conservation Service, Nevada Cattlemen's Association, and the Ag Council.
A feedlot steers.
Now we'll take a closer look at two of these properties, one surprisingly close to Las Vegas and one in northern Nevada. For several decades now, Nevada has had one of the fastest growth rates in the nation. But in spite of that, we've been able to hold on to some of the old ways. I'm Gwen Clancy with the Nevada Department of Cultural Affairs, and today we're in Carson Valley at the Scassa Ranch with Dorothy Scassa, whose family has been here for several generations. Can you tell us then about your place in this wonderful old house, and how far back does it go?
My husband's family came originally from Switzerland, and they had wood up in Alpine County, and when the mines of Virginia City went downhill, they decided it was time to buy a ranch. So in 1885, they came here and bought this place. The house was on it at the time, so we don't know how old the house was because we did not talk to the people about it, and if they even knew.
We don't have a chance to see many of these old places. Can we see the inside?
Sure, come on in.
So back in 1885, if we could transport ourselves back in time, what would it have looked like then?
All bare, practically. They had to do a lot of removing sagebrush and getting stuff done. There was some meadowland. No neighbors anywhere real close. It was, very peaceful and quiet. And the mountains never changed. They've always been there. So it looked much like now, only, as I say, no other houses around anywhere. And of course, these trees were not here. My mother-in-law planted most of them.
So this is the old place. Has it changed much?
This is our original living room, and it has changed very little. We used to feed all the hay crew and do everything, and I raised 4 kids here, surprisingly enough, in a small place.
And this old picture on the wall.
Okay, this is the place in Switzerland. They come from a little town called Malvalia, and it was built in 1445 before Columbus discovered America, and there's family still living in it.
Your husband's family still lives in the same house from 1445.
Generations.
Astounding. Can't even imagine it. And the kitchen over there looks like the old thing.
It is very much. We had to modernize a little bit because of times. It has changed very little over the years. We put cupboards in, and my sink used to sit over in the corner with no drain boards or anything, so we did modernize it. And but here's our old stove that we still use to heat the house and do the cooking in the wintertime.
You still cook on this stove?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And this right over here, the sink. Well, are you in the midst? Did we catch you in the middle of making lunch?
Yes. It's an old sink, but it's big, and I like it, and I wouldn't trade it for all the new ones. We still use so many of the old things. When I go to collectible shops, I find that I look at things and say, I'm still using that. Like this mixer here belonged to my mother-in-law's mother-in-law. And it's not a reproduction, it's the original. And I use it all the time.
Well, standing here in this charming kitchen and looking out the window and seeing the subdivisions coming and the growth coming, this is a very popular place to move.
Well, I don't know whether they look down upon us old farm-wise, still living in the old days, but These modern homes are wonderful and everything, but I've used mine so many years that I wouldn't know how to operate in a new house.
And there's something really wonderful about this.
Yeah, and it's hard for people to believe that we fed hay crews and raised our children and everything all at once in these little places. We didn't have great big rooms and everything like they do now.
But you pulled it off.
We had to. We had to. You have to do what you have to do.
Dorothy Scassa, along with her son Russell and her grandson Jeremy, runs the place now.
Basically, we raise calves. We have mother cows, and they have a calf, and in the fall of the year we sell the calf, and then we also sell some hay.
And so is this what's called a cow-calf operation?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And these are beef cows?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're surrounded by buildings that look like they've been here for a while.
Yes, this building right here is the granary. It used to be the granary when they had raised grain, and they'd put it in there for the winter and then use it throughout the winter. This building's probably been here since around 1917. That's what the cornerstone says there. Underneath it, it has a cellar where we used to cut the meat and do the butchering. And then they also put all their canned goods and everything down there because it never freezes down there.
This looks like kind of a place that'd be cool in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Would you hang out there as a kid?
Well, a little bit, yeah. Mom always had root beer hid down there in the refrigerator down there, so.
Root beer, is that where the term came from? Root cellar?
Well, I don't know. She always made some every summer.
Wow, well, you don't see this every day.
No, this is the downstairs cellar, and we used to have to use this, and it's a handsaw and the old cleaver that we used to split the beef with and everything, so we modernized a little bit. But we've found that when we have the time, we like to cut our own meat. It's just, we usually use our own meat, so. We've always had the refrigeration to do our own meat cutting, and we can hang a couple of full beefs in there, and then it has a freezer set up in the back. So we do our own cutting and wrapping and throw it in there, and it keeps us for a year.
So if the whole world around you disappeared, you'd have your own self-sufficient place right here?
Right.
Well, Russell, I see all these fields down here below. Are these your hay fields?
Yes, these are the ones way out to the east is our pasture fields, but the closer ones are our hay fields. And to get a cow herd through the winter around here, everybody has to put up hay and feed it to the cows, and we do put up a little extra, so then we sell some.
So it looks like you store a lot of your hay here. You have leftover then from last year?
Yeah, we've kind of run pretty conservative. We try to have some leftover so that if we're facing a drought, we always have something to protect us and for the next year. And here we have to do it by hand, and then there's a derrick thing that comes down there and picks the hay up and takes it up to the tract, and then it goes on the inside, but you have to do it all by hand.
I was going to say, this is the real thing, isn't it?
Right. This
is the old barn.
So in order to get the hay up there, there's a cable that runs, and it drops the fork down here to the bottom, where you can pick the hay off of a wagon or whatever, or a harrow bed. And then the cable goes through the back of the barn, and you hook, in the old days, they hooked horses to it. Now we use a tractor. But then you need people on the inside to stack it. It takes about 5 people to actually put the hay in this barn right with that derrick setup.
Sure. Well, I've heard too that in the old days they'd have to help their neighbors. Neighbors would help each other because it was such a heavy-duty operation requiring so many people.
Right. Yeah, that's true. We used to, everybody'd get together and we'd help the neighbors and they'd help us. And now everybody kind of does their own thing. Everybody has their own piece of equipment pretty much.